Hey,
Roach King, what's up, man? How you doing,
yo.
brother?
Good, man. Good. What's going on?
Not much, just chilling, just chilling. Dude, I can't figure out my setup in the studio, man. I keep moving the camera around. I just can't make my mind up, so it is what it is. But dude,
Hear ya.
how was your weekend, man? How's everything on your end?
Good. Good. We just doing a lot with the renovations, man. Had to change our guest room. Now we're making that the baby nursery, and I just got like I just told.
Oh,
Uh,
getting real.
yeah, yeah. So we're moving our guest room from the front house into our back house, and actually going to start Airbnb-ing the whole back house. So we just been. I mean, I just got like I just texted you. We're getting off we're just got off the phone with the dumpster trailer people.
Mhm.
Just there's so much shit we got to get rid of. Just it's kind of a good thing. It's a good
Right.
deal.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, it's getting real. And I want to shout out my buddy Justin because he just had his second child this morning. Happened this morning.
Oh
So
wow.
obviously had his second son. But yeah, I'm about to say it's getting real for you, man. It's funny. I texted him like yesterday, and I was like, "Oh man, it's game week," and I was like, "Wait, it's game week for you in a different way." I think like
Yeah.
and he's a huge Gamecock fan, obviously too. But he was like, "It's really game week for you." Anyways, man, I appreciate you taking the time, and let's just go ahead and dive into it because what's so exciting, Stephen, we talked about this last week, is that it is game week and there's actually football on the field this
Thank God.
weekend. Thank God, thank God. Hell of a weekend to watch ball. Did you catch any of what Ryan Helinski did for Northwestern? Did you see any of
Yeah.
that,
I
dude?
actually I talked to him after the game, man.
What a game! I mean, dude, he balled out. I mean, there's
Yeah,
just no other way to put it. He balled out and probably put the final nail in Scott Frost's coffin. By the way, just throw that
that's
out there.
it's the whole thing is wild, man. But yeah, I was texting him. I was like, dude, I'm so proud of you, man. Like happy for you. You know, you've been through hell and back, and I'm proud of you. So
Yeah.
we had a little celebratory, little cheers.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
It was incredible, man. Just watching him and the precision. I think you saw why Gamecock fans were so excited for him. I mean, obviously it's a shame it didn't work out here, but great to see him having success, obviously, because I know all of Gamecock Nation is pulling for him. Steven, when you're a player on the team, obviously, and you're the starting quarterback, how much does the preparation and everything change from just going through the normal fall camp practices, getting down the fundamentals, implementing system schemes, whatever, to now you're focusing on an opponent? What makes practice so much different? I guess that probably starts late last week. You really get into that, and certainly this week, this team is now locked in on Georgia State. What's so much different about it this week for what the players are going through?
So one thing that I absolutely hated that Coach Spurrier would do is we'd spend so much time. Like I mean, it was almost 3 or 4 weeks that we would prepare for that first game. Like say like East Carolina, we spent so much damn time trying to figure out what defense they were going to run, their personnel, this and that, what they're going to do in certain situations. And we get in the game, and obviously they changed everything. And I'm sitting on the sideline, because I didn't start, which was wild, but that's another story. But I'm sitting, I was like, yeah, we spent 4 or 5 weeks studying this shit, and they're not doing what we thought they were going to do. So I hated how he did that. But to get back to your point, I think Coach Beamer kind of saw that, and it's like, we're going to focus on us right now, and then within a week we're going to treat it like a normal game week. Within a week of practice, now we're going to start focusing on Georgia State. Now we're going to work on personnel. We're going to game plan. We're going to see what works, what wouldn't work, and kind of go from there. So it's a lot different, and I know these guys are freaking jacked up because, like I said, they are absolutely hating life, hitting their heads against the wall, against each other nonstop. So they're ready to rock and roll and put some helmet to helmet on somebody.
Steven, switching gears, I'm going to jump around. I'm sure you saw the game in Dublin between Northwestern and Nebraska. The internet system went down, and because of that, all concessions, including beer, were free. Can you imagine being at a football game? How much beer do you think you would consume if the beer was free at a football
I'd do it anyways, a lot. Uh,
game?
but I saw that, and I saw the video of somebody like, yeah, it's free beer, but look at this line you have to wait in, and they showed a line. It had to be a mile long
Yeah.
to get freaking free beer. So at that point, I think you just go outside and start tailgating again and come back in there or something. I don't know, that'd be hell on earth right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just thought that was crazy. Back to again on the field, Stephen. What's so interesting about you again? We're talking season openers, and it's always exciting. I don't think it matters how many years you play. I'm sure you felt the same way as a freshman to a senior when it's a season opener, when it's opening day. You've always got that excitement, those butterflies. But I was thinking about your season openers. I say as the starting quarterback. Obviously, the final one that I'm going to talk about, you weren't technically. But, I think about how different your 3 season openers were as the starting quarterback. Because I think 09 against NC State,
Yep.
defensive slugfest. I mean, 7-3 final. Like when does that happen anymore? And I think everybody recalls that game because that was Stephon Gilmore's first game. He makes that play in the end zone to save the game. But a 7-3 win in Raleigh. 2010, I was at that game actually with my dad. You guys crushed Southern Miss. Play that stands out from that one, obviously, you trucking the Southern Miss guy going into the end zone. And that was also Marcus Lattimore's first game. And that funny story about that game, I remember Marcus Lattimore running in his first touchdown. And I looked at my dad and I was like, I think he's going to have a lot of those. I think that's the first of many. And sure enough, the rest is history. And then again, 2011, that season opener for you, Connor Shaw gets the start and you come in and save the day. When you think about your season openers in college of the 3 games I mentioned, again, we could probably spend a show talking about each individual game. But what stands out, I'll say just as a whole, going into season openers, did anything change for you? Were the emotions high? Did you ever let your emotions creep in, or were you pretty much stoic the entire time? Like, what was it like for you going into those season openers as the starting quarterback?
I usually wear my emotion on my sleeve. I'm an emotional guy. But yeah, I mean, I would say the first one, the Raleigh game, that was pretty intense. I mean, it was a away game. I mean, it was at night. I mean, I was pretty fired up. I mean, you get fired up no matter who you're playing against. You could be playing against, Sister Mary the Blind, whatever the hell, whoever it may be, you're going to get fired up. So, I mean, I don't know.
And that I was going to say that season opener in 09, that was really your first game where I feel like it was your team, right? Because I mean, 08 was a mess at quarterback. And now, so going to 09, it was like, all right, Steven Garcia is QB1. Like, as long as he doesn't do anything to lose the job, like this is his football team. Like, was that the case or?
Yeah, for sure. And I remember, like, I don't know if I've told that story or not. It was after we played Tebow in the swamp in 08, and we lost 56-6. And me and Chris Smelly were going in and out every single rep. After the game, I remember going straight up to Coach Burr. I said, Coach, if you plan on doing that again, let me know, because I am fucking out of here. I'm not ever doing that again. He's like, all right, yeah, man. It didn't work for us today. So yeah, I think we're done with that. But I mean, the previous week we played against Arkansas, and it actually worked out well. Me and Chris actually played really well. But yeah, that was tough. But yeah, then after that, Chris left and went to play baseball at Alabama. And yeah, Coach Mangus came up and he said, "You're not transferring anywhere. I'm going to be the quarterbacks coach in Columbia. I need you there. You're going to be the guy." So yeah, that was kind of the first time that I was like, all right, I'm QB1, and there's nobody else to compete against.
And then 2010, obviously, you go into that season. I mean, you guys had a solid 2009. I don't know if you saw, by the way, Steven, I posted I went down and hung out with some buddies this weekend, and he showed me one of his vintage shirts. He had a little collection, and one of them was the 09 Papa John's Bowl against UConn. And he had the T-shirt. I was like, I have to post this to social media because I know what the reaction. I don't know if you saw your boy Clifford commented on Instagram and just said, delete, delete, delete. That's all it said. Hey, we'll talk about that game. I think I've actually talked to you about this. And I think what I remember you telling me was, that when Alshon Jeffrey is dropping balls because it's so cold, like you're going to have a long day. Like,
yeah.
That's just when it's that cold. And you're like, I remember I've had multiple of your teammates tell me, he's like, we're coming out there freezing. These UConn guys are coming out short sleeves. Like, just don't give a damn. It's like, we might be screwed today.
Yeah. It was, and my brothers played at Harvard. So I remember going up to those games and it like freezing my ass off. But even that was not as cold as that Birmingham game was. That was absolutely miserable. And like you said, man, those UConn boys, they were used to it. They had and the thing is, like, those guys ended up playing in, I think, the Rose Bowl, or like a big bowl game the next year. I mean, they had a hell of a team. But yeah, we're going up there, and I remember throwing a dig to Alshon, and he dropped it, and I was like, oh shit, this is not good at all. But yeah, that game really sucks. Like I said, I'm cleaning out my the guest room, and I'm seeing Outback Bowl like footballs, UConn, the Papa John's Bowl, all sorts of old footballs that I need to get rid of. That doesn't bring back great memories.
For sure. Talk about Spencer Rattler, Steven. Like what he's I say going through. Where do you think his head is at this week? And you've been in that exact same position. I mean, I guess last minute, you've probably got it pretty much figured out by this point, but last minute adjustments, watching a ton of film, I'd imagine. Like if you had to give fans kind of an insight or kind of an idea of the preparation Spencer Rattler is going through to prepare for Saturday.
I think he's just ready to get back to playing football. I think all the off-field distractions, all the, controversy, so to speak, from Oklahoma last year, getting benched, for Caleb Williams last year. I think all of that shit, I think he just wants to put to bed and actually play a football game and play well. It's Georgia State, and Georgia State is not a pushover. Coach Elliott's going to have them boys fired up. I can promise you that. He's going to have those guys ready to kill somebody. I just hope our guys aren't taking them light, thinking that's going to be some sort of cupcake. I don't think Coach Beamer is going to allow that. I think he's going to have these guys ready to rock and roll on all cylinders. And, I'm hoping Spencer plays well. I'm hoping he kind of puts to bed all of the distractions, controversies, et cetera, and plays really well and gets everybody behind him.
Yeah, Stephen, you mentioned, I want to get to Sean Elliott definitely in just a second, but you mentioned teams taking other teams lightly. And I mean, it happens, right? We see it every single week. We see it every year. It doesn't matter who the coach, it happens, right? It happens. We see upsets all the time, and not to discredit upsets or anything like that, but we see teams play down to their competition. How do you avoid that? Does that start with the coaching? Is it player led, as you and Connor Shaw have said, with the culture? How can a coach, or how can that be? I don't know if fixed is the right word, but it's one thing to come out and, hey, upsets do happen, right? But to not bring your best game. And it is a real challenge for college football coaches and for teams because, again, you play the Charlottes and the SC States. Can you be as fired up and as locked in? And, again, you've experienced it firsthand. Can you be as fired up and locked in for that game as you are for Alabama, for Georgia? Because you don't have to get yourself fired up to play Georgia, right? If you're not fired up to play Georgia, you just don't have a pulse. But so where does that come from, Stephen? And how does this team avoid a quote-unquote letdown game in this one?
You better be fired the fuck up no matter who you're playing. That's just, I'm telling you right now, that's kind of the motto that I had, and that's kind of the motto that Connor kind of, embodied as well. We wouldn't let guys kind of be lazy. We wouldn't let, if practice they were playing against a Troy or, and I mean, these guys are D1 college football players, Navy, D1 college football players, Wofford. I mean, these guys, if you underestimate these guys, they're pissed off that they're not playing in our jersey. They're pissed off that they didn't get recruited at an SEC school. So when they get a chance to play against an SEC school, they're going to come out and try to hurt you. And I do the same thing if I was those guys. And that's kind of the message that I would say. I think I wouldn't say that Coach Spurrier kind of was lackadaisical, so to speak, and when we played against, weaker opponents, so to speak. But, there was definitely a lot more energy when we're playing against Florida or Georgia or, Kentucky or, whatever, as opposed to when we're playing against, lesser opponents. So, but that was kind of, like you said, and Connor said, it all starts with the quarterback and the, the defensive captains and, just building that culture and having these guys fired up to play no matter who the hell you're playing against.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, Steve. And I think, Shane Beamer is going to have this team ready to play. And I think this team's just going to be fired up either way because there's still obviously a ton to prove. It's not like you're favored by 30 points in this game. I mean, again, like you mentioned, Georgia State is a quality football team. And, of course, they're led by Sean Elliott. There's a lot of intriguing storylines going into this one. You got Coach Elliott coming back to Williams-Brice. Hey, we've got a former Georgia State guy in Jordan Strawn on the defense, the defensive front. He'll be going up against his old team. Jamias Williams, who played DB at South Carolina under Will Muschamp. He's now on the Doak Walker Award watch list as a running back for them. Ran for almost 1,000 yards last year. So a lot of really cool matchups within the matchups, a lot of cool storylines. Speaking specifically on Sean Elliott, though, again, obviously Coach Elliott there when you were there. Just talk about your experiences with him and what you remember from him specifically during his time in Columbia.
Awesome. Everything about him, top tier. It's funny. I still talk to the guy. I wouldn't say all the time, but randomly he'll comment on some of my Instagram stuff or he'll send me a text. Say, hey man, hope everything's going well. Congrats on the engagement. Congrats on the baby and everything else. He embodies football. I mean, he is a football player's coach. You hear people say it all the time, oh, he's a player's coach or, he's a coach's coach, whatever it may be. Coach Elliott loves his players like they're his own kids, and you can feel that. And I feel like Coach Beamer is the exact same way. He knows how to treat the guys. He knows how to get guys fired up. He knows what he will allow and what he won't allow. So I love Coach Elliott. He's probably one of my all-time favorite coaches, to be honest with you.
Switching gears a little bit again, talking about this first game upcoming. Did you see the video of the new lights at Willie B? I know you did. I know you did because I saw your response, I think, to Mike Uva's tweet with the crazy eyes. Do you like the light? I mean, I would assume you like the lights. What are your thoughts on the new LED lights?
I can't wait to see him in person, but watching that on video, I thought I had a headache, man. I got concussion. I mean, I had to get on concussion protocol. I think seeing it live will be a little bit easier to bear. And I saw some of the comments saying, "Oh, you can tell Garcia's getting old if that's hurting his eyeballs." It's like, I tell you what, you stare at that thing for 10 seconds and tell me your head doesn't start hurting. Watching all those damn lights on a freaking 8 or 10 whatever this is inch screen. I mean, it was mind hurting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him in person for sure. I think the video, I don't know if the video will have done justice. A lot of times it doesn't. Again, man, I know we're all excited, obviously, going into Georgia State. Again, we talked about Coach Elliott. You know Coach Elliott, kind of what he's all about. What are you expecting to see from this Georgia State team? Just to give you an idea, Stephen, in case you didn't know, this is a team that ran for about 226 yards per game last year. They were ranked, I think, 8th nationally. Defense struggled a little bit, but there's no secret. They want to run the football.
100%. I mean, Coach Elliott is an offensive lineman. That's what he played. That's what he's coached. That's what he's good at. I mean, he's great at. So he's gonna run the shit out of the ball and try to control the clock, try to keep his offense on the field as long as possible and long sustaining drives. And that's really how you quote unquote upset teams. You control the time clock. So the time of possession. I mean, if I was Coach Elliott, that's what I would do. I'd try to keep the ball out of Rattler's hand and keep the ball out of South Carolina's offense. That's what Navy does. That's what Wofford does. I mean, they're triple option teams, which I absolutely despise playing because these guys would go on freaking 8, 10, 12-minute drives, and we're just sitting there picking our ass. So I mean, it sucks playing against those teams. But if I had to guess, that's what Coach Elliott's going to do. He's going to try to run the hell out of the ball.
I was going to say, Stephen, you guys had some pretty interesting matchups against the Woffords of the world during your time in Columbia. There were some less than fun games to watch. Put it that
way. They weren't fun to play either. They were.
Yeah, having 1 week to get ready for an option team, no bueno. And God bless whoever was running scout team and trying to get the defense ready, because I have to imagine that's a hell of a task. Flipping it to the South Carolina side of things, the spread is 12, which a lot of fans look at and scoff immediately. Oh, they're underselling us. They're undervaluing us. Like you mentioned, Georgia State is not EIU. This is not a spring game 2.0. Georgia State, hey, we're talking about a team that probably should have beat Auburn last year, lost by 10 on the Plains. They beat Tennessee in Knoxville a couple years ago. They will not be intimidated, I think, by an SEC atmosphere. And I'm not taking anything away from Willie B, the new lights, our crowd, but they've just gone on the road and they've done it before, right? I don't know that we're going to throw many things at them they haven't seen before in regards to a road environment. Specifically, what you want to see from South Carolina, because a season opener does not define your entire season. Stephen, I know you recall this and I forgot, by the way, you redshirted in 07. I forgot that. I don't know how that slipped my mind, but you were on the team in 07, so I'm sure you recall this. That season opener in 07, I'll never forget. Louisiana Lafayette runs for like 280 yards. We could not stop them. And the following week, Carolina goes to Georgia because I went to that game between the hedges. They got no Sean Moreno. They got Matt Stafford. And Lee Corso says, and Kirk Herbstreit, there's no way Carolina's going to stop Georgia's rushing attack. They gave up 280 to Louisiana Lafayette. They're going to get killed. And sure enough, you guys win the football game. So, I mean, you just never know. Like a season opener does not tell the entire story. But is there anything specifically you want to see? Because this is a big game in regards to setting the tone, Stephen, for sure. You got Arkansas week 2, Georgia week 3. It gets very real out of the gate very quickly. So anything specifically you're going to be looking for in this ball game from this team?
I think it's going to be the same that everybody's looking at. I think everybody wants to see what Rattler does and what their offense is going to do. I think it's, like you said, it's going to set the tone for the remainder of the year. It's not an end-all, be-all, if they don't win this game or if they don't really play necessarily well. But I think everybody wants to see the ball, pitch and catch, as Coach Spurrier used to say. They want to see the ball in the air. They want to see us coming down with it and, scoring a lot of points. I think that's what that's what I want to see. As far as defense goes, it's going to be interesting. If they can stop the run, I think it could be a chance to blow them out. So I guess, like I said, we'll see how these guys go, man. I'm interested to see. I'm freaking fired up about it. I think everybody's kind of done talking about it. They just want to see see the product on the field. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, Steven, I'm over here like digging for questions, right? Like, we're just talking season's officially over. Like it's time to shut up and go hit somebody else and can't wait for it. Steven, last thing before I get you out of here, because again, what I'm so excited about, my man, is that this time next week, we're going to be talking about an actual game that took place on the field. And I think what's going to be so valuable about that is because, again, you know, QB1, you get all the glory when it goes right, and you're going to get all the criticism when it goes wrong. But believe it or not, it's not always the quarterback's fault. Hard to believe, but it's not always the quarterback's fault. So I'm excited to get your take and your feedback on what specifically Rattler's seeing, what he's doing, what they're trying to do. So I think it can help give our audience a little bit better understanding of just what is going on with this offense. Because, of course, you know, we're all excited for the defense and potential, but the offense is the talking point this year. I mean, that's you were ranked 116th or something nationally last year. You bring in all the pieces you brought in. That's what everybody wants to see this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Last thing, Steven, before I get you out of here, what's the greater number on Saturday? Amount of points that Georgia State scores or cold beverages that Steven Garcia consumes?
There will be a bunch of consumption. I can promise you that. It's like I said, it's opening week. We got the back house ready to rock and roll. Got the smoker ready to go. I actually have one of my godfather's new son-in-law went to Georgia State. So he's all fired up. He's like, "Hey man, what are we doing Saturday?" You know, I got a couple people that want to watch the game. I was like, "Man, we're going to be at the Nest and we're going to be getting after it." So I don't know. That's a tough one right there. I'm hoping I drink more beers than Georgia State scores.
Yeah. That's all. I'm thinking though, you know, if they score around, 17, like maybe, but I trust you. I think 17, you could just easily shatter it, to be honest.
Oh, they're going to need double. They're going to need double than that.
They're going to need to have an offensive explosion.
Yeah. On opening game week, it's going to get messy.
No brainer. Week 0 was the warm up week. Now it's serious.
Absolutely. I don't have the kids this weekend either, so it's going to get
dangerous. Horrid weekend to be a Panther and an apocalyptic weekend to be a cold beer. That is for damn sure. Or a cold Rebel Rabbit at that. Shout out those guys.
Yes, sir.
Steven, again, appreciate you taking the time, man. I'm looking forward to it all season long. The final time we will chat without some actual on-field Gamecocks football to discuss for quite a while. So I'm looking forward to it. Steven, appreciate you taking the time, man. And we'll do it again next week.
Absolutely, man. Hey, I'm gonna shoot you a text. I got an idea about the South Carolina State game with the alumni deal coming out.
Yes.
I just talked to Pat Marco. So we're gonna have all that set up. But yeah, I'm gonna shoot you a text. We're gonna figure something out. I got some plans.
Dude, let's do it, man. Let's do it. You just fired up the audience, man. Good job. You fired up the audience. Hey, I appreciate you, Steven.
Absolutely, man. We'll see y'all.
Hey, take care.